Like many of you, most of you, maybe potentially nearly all of you, I've spent a good chunk of my life playing video games. Grew up with Pokemon, Toontown, Tiny Tasmanian Tiger, and in middle school and high school, spent a lot of time playing games like Civilization, Super Smash Bros, and admittedly, let's be real here, real Roble, Minecraft. But until I didn't really think much about it until one particular night early on in high school, and I just spent over the course of a single long weekend. I just played a 19-hour game of Civilization. I built a thriving virtual nation, negotiated with computer-generated, not actually people, adversaries, and in the 19th hour, I lost control of my country with a single vote by the virtual United Nations. I was so frustrated, but for the first time, I was also filled with questions. What just happened, and where did my weekend go? The 19 hours of my life I just put in this game, and again, let's be real, hundreds of hours I put into Civilization 3 and 4 over the previous 2 or so years, and I don't know how many hours on video games in general. Did they, leave me better off in any way? Or was it purely entertainment, a diversion? Nothing more than passing time, and time, and time, and time, and time. When you turn off a video game and step back to the real world, what comes with you? As an aspiring, as an amateur game developer at the time as well, messing around with Multimedia Fusion 2 and having fun with that, I was thinking about, potentially considering the game industry, but I didn't know, what would that entail? Would I just be putting other teenagers like me, people of all ages, in a similar position? Could a video game, is a video game destined to not enrich your life and just be something that takes up time? Even if it is entertaining. So, here's one man's point of view on the subject. Almost 200 years ago, Thomas Jefferson wrote, "A great obstacle to good education is the inordinate passion prevalent for video games. The time lost in the playing." Well, did he actually write that? No. What he actually wrote was this. "A great obstacle to good education is the inordinate passion prevalent for novels, and the time lost in that reading which should be instructively employed." He wrote those words in 1818, but his prescience was uncanny. Jefferson went on to write, "When this poison infects the mind, the result is a bloated imagination, sickly judgment, and disgust for all the real businesses of life." In Jefferson's day, parents were appalled to find their children hidden indoors on a beautiful day, deeply absorbed in reading a novel. Back then, reading novels was thought of as a waste of time in general, and as a deplorably unwholesome activity for young people in particular. But how could this be possible? I mean, sure, if you gave Harry Potter to parents back then, they'd call it blasphemous heresy. But what about The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, Great Gatsby, Things Fall Apart? These books hadn't been written yet. And sure, there had been a decent number of really powerful, paradigm-changing novels by that time, but most of the novels that were read during, 19th century, very early 19th century New England were all basically beach reads. It was purely for entertainment, and that's what the novel was thought of. And when people wanted to become an author, that was what they aspired to, was essentially like Twilight. Nothing against Twilight, but a sappy love story. And not that there's anything wrong with it, nothing that is wrong with it. That said, the novel was thought of as purely entertainment, a diversion, nothing more than passing time. Until, I would argue, the advent of the great American novel. I mean, it was before, again, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, Great Gatsby, Things Fall Apart, which I guess is actually not an American novel, but I really like it. It was before the Scarlet Letter got people to see past these deep-rooted stigmas and learn to hate the sin, but understand and love the sinner. And it was before that Uncle Tom's Cabin, a novel, took this, abolitionism, which was seen as this fringe movement, and made its readers see that it was not just a movement, but a moral necessity, and it became an unstoppable force for justice. These works, and others like them, elevated an entire genre. They, sure, they brought people into a different world, but they didn't leave real social moral issues behind. They brought it in and you ended up engaging with them with the book. And they didn't just tell you what to think about these issues. Like any good form of art, they encouraged you to step back. They prompted you to step back and to think about it critically and come to your own conclusions about it. And they often did this by engaging and expanding the reader's empathy, using the best technology they had, the emotional power of the fictional written word. So, fast forward to today. Is it possible that a video game could do these things? I mean, could a video game, which has elements of role play, often has a story, you're put in a different world, could a video game similarly have great social and cultural significance? Could a video game, or could you, when you turn off a video game and step back into the real world, have be prompted to think critically, to really think deeply and intentionally about yourself and how you interact with those around you, and even have some expanded empathy and a different understanding of the world? I believe that would be the case. And in fact, love to talk. I know the 5 minutes are up, so of course I don't have time to talk about all the games I'd love to talk about that are doing this. Undertale, Undertale, Papers, Please, tons of other games. But I believe, if you look for it, the great American novel and the great American video game the great American video game is out there to be played. And I think the less that we just just celebrate and just have fun and buy ourselves and in the future our kids games that are just entertaining and just addictingly good. And the more we start seeking out, playing, and celebrating games that leave us a bit more human when we walk away from them, then we may soon see the video game join the novel as one of the truly great mediums of human expression. Thank you.